Good morning, lovely people of the world, and welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina. This over here is Kristin Odell with KLO LLC, and I'm Tina Prigge with Vagabond Creative Studio.
That's Tina over there. I'm back in my office. Everything's backwards. I have to.
Doing a show like this is really like a mind space kind of trip, isn't it? Hey, let's talk about that coffee mug, world's best boss. I think that's great positive self-talk.
My facial lighting is having a problem with it.
Good morning,
Yeah.
Mary.
You want to know what? This is my husband's mug. He got it from his employees for Boss's Day, which was a couple of weeks ago. For those of you who don't know, dang it, I can't there. That's
that's good. Yeah.
This is from Michael Scott in The Office. If you are familiar with it, he had this coffee mug on the show. So I think it's hilarious. Doug does not drink coffee. He does drink tea in the morning. But yeah, I thought, you know what? This is kind of a fun mug to use today.
Nice. And were you telling me recently about a podcast that Pam, who was in The Office, and Angela, who was in The Office, do?
Yes. It's like a behind the scenes. They'll like watch an episode and provide commentary on like fun things that happen behind the scenes, or if they had special guests or whatever, they'll just talk about the different people that were in the show. So
That
yes.
sounds so fun. I definitely want to check that out. Good morning in Fond du Lac, Stephen. Thanks so much for joining us. And apparently, get this, it's National Mary Day today. So we've got our own Mary joining us. Happy National Mary Day, Mary. Thanks.
Listen, if you know a Mary, make sure you say Happy Mary Day to them.
I wonder how many people, like in this country alone, are named Mary. I think, once upon a time, it was one of the most popular names, right? It seems like most girls were Mary or Mary something, Mary Beth, Mary Ann, Mary Jane,
Yeah,
Mary
you're right.
Elizabeth, Mary Sue, Mary Lynn.
I'm sure, I wonder if there's any statistics under like the Social Security Administration you can look at. Because I know you can go out, I think this is through the Social Security Administration, and look like the most popular names by year. And you
right.
search the names list. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. Interesting. Hey, speaking of names, so my son and I have been doing some word games, and he's like, "Hey, let's do a crossword puzzle together." I was like, "Okay." So we picked up the USA Today, and we're doing this crossword puzzle, and my son's name is Teak, and look at what 47 across was. The answer was Teak. We were like, "Okay, that is a sign from the universe." That's pretty cool.
That's right. So in that context, teak was being used to describe a wood, correct?
Right. Yeah. The clue was something. Oh, you know what? I have the paper right here. Let's check. 47 across. Tropical hardwood.
Tropical hardwood. So I mentioned to Tina, just as we were talking about this cook before the show, that when Doug and I were in Hawaii, there was a lot of teak furniture. So it is a very Asian or Polynesian centric wood. Tropical.
Right. And fun fact, the USS Cobia submarine that's here in Manitowoc, the deck of the submarine is all teak wood.
That is so cool. I did not know that. How do you know that?
I've toured the submarine countless times, like 20 times maybe. And every time you're on it, you learn something new. And as soon as Teak learned that fact, now anytime he tours the submarine, he's just waiting for the tour guide to mention that. And if they don't, he'll like raise his hand and be like, what kind of wood is the deck? Because he just loves to hear that it's teak.
What inspired Teak's name?
So funny that you mentioned Hawaii. That's where our honeymoon was. And that's essentially where he's from. So it just kind of had that it had that good association. And then, we love the thought that it's like a strong name, teak wood, it's beautiful, it's prized, it's loved, right? So those are all good things. It didn't rhyme with anything particularly nasty that we could think of. We figured if you spoke Japanese, you could say it as easily if you spoke French or English. So
there you go. I love it. That is so good. Doug and I also honeymooned in Hawaii. I've realized we have that in common as well.
That's so cool. We spent most of the time on Maui. We didn't island hop at all.
Same.
Maui too?
Yes. How fun
What?
is that?
Kristen, we have so much to talk about.
We did go to Waikiki and do Pearl Harbor for one day. We did hop one day, but which by the way was totally worth it. If you've ever been there, you must go and see Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, yeah, I think we need to go back. We keep talking about, like, on one of our big anniversaries, we should
Yeah,
make a plan to go back because, yeah, we didn't do any of that stuff.
right, for sure. All
Yeah.
right, Steve also mentioned it is National Deviled Egg Day.
Ah, I love deviled eggs. It's funny, so we're talking about Teak and the fact that he's from Hawaii, essentially. When I was pregnant with him, my husband, Jason, was so awesome about anything I needed, right? Like, I'd be like, literally at Culver's in the drive-through, they knew him by name. They'd be like, "Oh, hello, Mr. Prigge, chocolate shake," you know? But
Yes.
one night it was midnight and I woke up and I'm like, "Honey, I want deviled eggs." He was like, "Nope, go back to bed." It was the one thing that he wasn't gonna do because it was just the wrong time of day, right, to be thinking about
Yes.
deviled eggs.
Oh, I love deviled eggs. I love like they just you can pop them in your mouth and they just slide right down the hatch and they're so delicious.
That's awesome. Hey, so it was trick or treating. Let's talk about this. This looks so fun.
I know we took this after we got home because I realized I did not take pictures. They were literally running from house to house. We had so much fun. But yes, this is my referee, my Aaron Rodgers, and my Packer cheerleader. We had so much fun. We went with some friends and visited my parents, and they got so much candy. It's like insane how much candy they have. We actually stopped after an hour and a half because the kids' bags were getting full.
Did they have to, like, switch out bags to, like, another bag in
Not
the middle?
our particular kids, but some friends that we were with, they had, like, the plastic Halloween buckets.
Okay, I can
They
imagine.
were overflowing. Somebody gave them a grocery bag at one of the houses so that they could dump some off and have room in their buckets, so
That's
they made a
awesome.
haul. Yeah.
Were there a lot of people out and about?
I feel there was a lot. I don't feel like there was as many as other years, from a trick or treating standpoint, but so my parents kind of are close to Franklin School and Shooty Park, and so we walked along like Lindbergh Drive, and I felt like there were so many awesome people like sitting on their porch handing out candy, or people dressed up on their front lawn handing. Like it was really fun, and there was a lot of just really we met a lot of really great people along the way. So.
Yeah, and it was such a perfect afternoon. It was so beautiful to be out and about, and I think people really missed it, right? Like, it
Right.
it felt great just to be able to do that again.
Absolutely. Yeah, the kids had a blast, so it was just a really great night.
You're talking about a lot of candy. So my son was too old to go this year. Well, he didn't necessarily think so, but he's too old to go this year. But so the
His
last
decision
time
was, he was overruled.
Yeah, he was overruled. I mean, it would have been like a grown man showing up at your door essentially, right?
Right.
So, the last time he and his buddy went, they had this whole plan. They literally ran the entire route. Halfway through, they came back, had a separate bag already planned, ran back out with it. When they were finished, they had 50 pounds of candy.
That I first of all, I love that they sorted it by, like, brand or type. I think that's so awesome. So tell me, did they eat all of this candy?
Uh, yeah, I mean, they were generous enough that they did, share some of it, but otherwise, yeah, they ate it
Amazing.
all.
Okay, so
Not in one night, definitely.
when you look at that picture, Tina, what thing would you go and pick to eat?
Oh, I would choose a Snickers right now and a Butterfinger and a Reese's peanut butter cup for later. How about you?
Okay. So definitely in the peanut butter family.
Right.
So I am spying in that picture some Milk Duds in the
Ah,
little boxes, which are
yes.
some of my all-time faves. And what would I pick next? I probably would pick a Snickers next. I can tell you that my all-time favorite thing, which we didn't get any of these in any of the girls things, is a Mallow cup,
Oh, what?
which is like uh
Yeah, it's kind of like a
it's
marshmallow.
marshmallow and there's coconut in the chocolate. They kind of look like a peanut butter cup, but it's marshmallow in the middle. And every now and then you can find a dark chocolate mallow cup.
Oh.
So Yes. I find myself, because we just in general don't eat a lot of candy. I don't have a good answer about why. I find myself starting to look up recipes. Like I have cut Snicker bars up for like the Snicker salad, what we call Snicker salad. It has the apples and like coconut and pudding in. Or I'll like use grab all the bags of M&Ms and M's and make a batch of like oatmeal M&M cookies, or you know what I mean? Like we start trying to use them in other ways.
Nice. Right, 'cause and you have triple the amount of candy then with 3 girls in the
Yeah.
house.
Which maybe it's like the same as what T came home with, and I don't know. Um, but you know, it gets tricky when you get to things like nerds and smarties. Like, is there really something I can do with this?
Well, it's funny because you mentioned Milk Duds. I also love Milk Duds, and I usually am the beneficiary of them because that's one candy that they don't like. So,
Really?
like, yeah, both the boys are like, "Here, somebody take the Milk Duds."
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's what I grabbed out of Nora's yesterday. And you always know you get a good box when there's 4 milk duds in it instead of 3, right?
Right, right. And then I am with, Steven and Mary, they both commented that they love Butterfingers.
Mm.
Absolutely, me too, Butterfingers all day long. Also a Twix and a Snickers. It's hard to go wrong with some of those.
Right. Yes, Steve, it is it we call it salad. I use that term loosely. But yes, it's like Cool Whip, if I'm remembering correctly, Cool Whip and vanilla pudding, and then you need an apple that, like, is tart and can stand up to all that, so typically Granny Smith are pretty good for that, the green is pretty in them, and then, yes, you cut up Snicker bars in it, and
Thanks for calling her out on that, Steven. I was thinking the same thing. Salad, huh? Hey, so the girls were dressed up as, Packer Ref and Player and Shoe Eater,
yes.
and so what's happening here? This looks like Titletown.
Yes, so on Saturday well, actually Friday night, my amazing cousin Mike and his new bride, Lindsay, they got married in Green Bay, so we kinda did a weekend getaway in Green Bay, and on Saturday so the wedding was Friday night, danced our brains out, the whole thing, had so much fun. On Saturday, we hit up the Packer Pro Shop, and they played football on the field there in Titletown and played on the playground, and we just it was so beautiful out that we got outside for a while.
Yeah, look at how gorgeous that is.
Yeah. So this is Nora's sitting on the end zone there, and Grace is running. My mom is actually out there. She was kicking some punts for the girls. And then Doug is running, and then Josie's on the end of the air. And yeah, it was a gorgeous day. So much fun.
Hey, speaking of gorgeous, tell us where this is. That the trees are just on fire. This fall has been incredible around here.
I know. Isn't it stunning? I feel like the trees just started to really finally turn. So, my dear friend Audrey shared this picture with me. So, they live just north of town in Manitowoc County. And every year, she said, every year I feel like I take this picture, but the trees are always so amazing. So, there's always a red, always a yellow, always an orange. And then you can see there's like an evergreen there. So, there's green, and just the trees are so stunning. She said, I had to take the picture again. Like, you have to just capture it. So, I'm
Mhm.
like, "You need to send that to me because it's just such an incredible shot. The reflection on the water is so pretty." Like,
Yeah, the sunlight, everything, and stunning is the perfect word to describe that.
right. Doesn't it look peaceful and, like,
Mhm.
amazing?
Audrey, thanks for sharing that. That is gorgeous.
Yeah.
We got our bikes out this weekend because the weather was so nice, and we decided to bike that trail, the
Yeah.
Devil's River Trail that like goes from Rockwood all the way to Denmark. We didn't do the whole thing. We started in Francis Creek and did about 5 miles, but with the trees turning colors and everything, it was so gorgeous. This picture doesn't even do it justice, but it was incredible out there. It was warm, it was sunny, the
Mhm.
colors were just on fire.
I love the blue sky in that picture against the trees. It just looks so nice.
Thanks.
The girls
Nice.
and I were talking today. So, the girls noticed this morning that it was 34 degrees on the way to school.
Was it?
And Grace said, "So if it's rained or snowed right now, like, would we get snow?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I guess it's possible." But I'm like, "Look at this blue sky we have today. Like, there's literally not a cloud in the sky. The sunrise was so pretty again." So,
Are they anxious for the snow? Are they looking forward to it?
they do. They love it. And I love it. Like, I think it's pretty. Um, so yeah,
Mm.
nice blue skies. We have to take advantage of this, folks, while we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Every second that we can. I mean, it's already November 2nd, right?
Right.
And the fact that we still have this beautiful weather is pretty unusual and we're pretty lucky.
I
Hey, before we talk about like November things though, we should look back. Last week we had talked about the Halloween house or the pumpkin house in Two Rivers.
yes.
You sent me a picture. Tell me, what did you find out about it?
Okay, so thankful for the Facebook memory. This
Mhm.
popped up on my Facebook over the weekend, and it was 4 years ago. That was the last year they did the pumpkin house. So, we are in
Oh.
2021, so 2017, if I'm doing my math well today. And, so yeah, we were there and visited and took pictures and kinda showed the girls because, like, we grew up with the pumpkin house, but obviously they didn't necessarily have memories of it. So this was the last time. So I found this really cool picture of all these pumpkins there, and I thought, "Oh, I gotta send Tina that because yeah,
That's
2017."
awesome. It reminds me, I don't know, did you remember, were you old enough to experience, like when I was a kid, there was a family called Brightwish, which was the perfect name for this. Every Christmas, his garage, he would turn into this whole diorama. And he had like animatronic reindeer and Santa. And it was always like a glimpse of Santa's workshop, or, they were always doing something really clever and really cute. And so there'd always be this line of cars that would like drive up,
I
take it in, keep going.
I remember going by houses that had stuff like that as a kid, but I don't couldn't tell you where it was or, you know, if it was the right house, but that sounds amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it was cool because it was always a little different story, and you had to kinda stop. It wasn't just, like, one thing happening, there was definitely, like, a little story captured.
Sure. Well, there's a house on South 14th Street right by Monroe School that does a lot on the lawn for Halloween. It's like super cool. And I think there's a police officer that lives on Daisy Drive that also always has stuff. So, we try to always hit those up. And I know there's Christmas houses around that do it too. It's good,
Yeah.
good fun.
As we get closer to Christmas, if you find out any of those, we'll have to share them on the show. And
I agree.
speaking of following up, Stephen asked, "Did we ever get that yellow table back from the RAR, and was there an artist insignia?" So the exhibit is still on, and strike of that exhibit is November 7th. So just hang
Mm,
on just a little bit longer, Stephen, and then we should be able to answer that question.
yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding us.
Yeah. Speaking of looking back, we talked about Halloween costumes. I did dig this one out of the archives. So this is Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. I love these costumes. This was so much fun.
I think you guys should bring this back. This is like this is so good. I am impressed by your level of costuming. I think it's awesome.
Aw, thanks. Thanks. And then I did find another one. So this was actually at a company that I worked for. These are some of my coworkers. And this actually is a cohesive is a cohesive theme. It's called Death Plays No Favorites, meaning no
Ah,
matter who you are or where in the world,
I love it. I feel like that's a famous coworker in the middle there.
it might be. If you know him, you know him.
So listen, I have a question. That weapon
Uh-huh.
the Grim Reaper is using in the back,
Hmm.
what would you say that weapon is called?
A scythe.
A scythe?
What would you
And,
say it's called?
I don't know. So my nephew wore a costume similar to that, but he had these really cool red glasses that the glasses were black. There was like an orange red circle that like glowed on and off out of his costume. So it had red creepy eyes that would show up through the black mask. And he had the same weapon. He was the Grim Reaper with glowing eyes. And
Cool.
we had discussion about what that weapon was called, and I think we decided it was like a thatcher, like a wheat thatcher.
Oh, I think that's what a scythe is. A scythe
Is
is
it?
used for, yeah,
Okay.
that
So
exact
we were
thing.
not wrong. We just didn't have the technical term.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
And I think it's spelled like Scythe.
Of course it is.
So it's not like an easy word to say. You're like scythe. It
Right.
has this weird ending. So
By the way, since we're on
yeah.
this topic, Nora is really starting to learn some phonic sounds and get acquainted. And can I just tell you that the GH silent combination is the like I don't know who decided that was a good idea, but it is incredibly hard to explain or to explain to a child why, like in the word though or right, why those letters need to be there.
Wait till she gets to neighbor.
Yeah, another fabulous example.
When enough, now it's pronounced like an F.
Right. Why didn't we just
Mhm.
put an F at the end? There, Steve just said it. Scythe, scythe.
Thank you, Stephen. Thanks for being so much on point. That's
Right.
awesome.
So that's my parenting gripe for today.
It's interesting because if you look at the etymology of the language, it has changed so much. So once upon a time, some of those words were pronounced somewhat differently, and
Right.
those now silent letters might have played a different role.
Absolutely.
And so without understanding some of that, it seems, we're completely miffed by how it's ended up today.
Right.
It's this hodgepodge, and the fact that English has pulled from so many different languages.
Right. For sure.
Hey, speaking of Halloween, let's talk about this art. So that looks like a GO, so that must be Grace.
This is Grace's Halloween piece from school. So I will describe this as a white piece of construction paper. This is watercolor on the back. And then they use a combination of glue with black paint and then toothpicks to apply the web. So if you were to see this in person, you would see that it does have some kind of definition and variation to it. And it's raised off the paper a little bit because
Oh,
of the
cool.
glue texture in there. But yeah, so the kids got to pick. It was supposed to be the web and the spider, but they could pick, like they could do a night sky. They could do whatever they wanted to do kind of behind to make it unique for them. So yeah, I thought this was just such a cool piece that she did.
Yeah, it's neat that it's got that texture. So does this have a place on the refrigerator?
Well, right now it is leaning up against the wall in our basement because we're having some work done. So we were kind of living in the basement, but it will get put in a frame because I think this will become an annual piece, maybe that will get pulled out at our house.
Nice.
Yeah.
When Teak was small, the stairwell going to the second floor, that entire stairwell, anytime he'd bring home a piece of art, I had like a whole collection, like so from the floor to as high
Yes.
as I could reach was all different pieces that he would made. And it brought me so much joy. It wasn't like that it was high quality art. It wasn't like
Right.
Da Vinci style or anything, but um, just the fact that they made it like knowing their little hands and minds were put
Mhm.
to creating this, I love that. And actually I miss it. At some point, I took it down so that it, wouldn't continue to fade or get damaged, but
Right.
I really miss having that.
Yeah, we a couple of years ago went and got frames. Grace especially had some pieces that were in Youth Art Month with the Manitowoc Public Schools in the Railroad West, and so we've over the years just selected pieces that the girls have done that we thought either were really cool or really bright or fun to look at, and we've started building a wall in our kitchen, and people comment on it every time they come over because it is colorful and it is fun to look at, and there are some things that, like if I look at it, I see one thing. Um, I know there's this one that it's kind of like color variations, and my uncle was like, "Oh, that looks like a buffalo stampede." And when I look at it, I don't see buffalo stampede at all. So like there's still interpretation that happens, and it's just really cool. So
That is awesome.
yeah.
Hey, speaking of art, I should give a little shout out. So Jason Prigge Fine Art, he's going to have an open studio this Saturday from noon to 6. So if anybody wants to stop by, swing on through, he's got, there must be, I'm thinking about 50 pieces of new original art, all focused on this Coolest Coast area.
Nice. So is this a gallery walk? Is this a sale? Is it meet the artist? Is it all of the above?
All of the above. Yep. Everything there, I think, is available for purchase if somebody is interested. But it's so cool just to observe
Mhm.
these original pieces of art. I walked through it yesterday, and whether you stand close or far away, there's this one that has a puddle. And when you're really up close, you see the brush strokes. And I can't get my mind around how an artist standing that close knows that those brush strokes when you stand back and look at it, it looks wet. It looks like you could dip your finger into it and it would be wet. It boggles my mind.
Yeah, you guys, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago when I got to sit in the studio there, it is so much fun to look at it.
Thanks,
It
Mom.
is inspiring to look at. Yeah, he is super talented. I agree. And you know what it reminds me of, Tina? I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. There's like these pieces of art that it's like tile or paper, and when you stand back from them, it like comes into place, and you can see the picture up close. It's like individual pieces. That is how I feel about Jason's art. I feel like, to your point, up close you see the individual brush strokes and you see the layering, and when you step back you see the entire picture and you see things that you couldn't see up close.
It's true. And it's interesting too. Like, I love to look at it because each piece, there'll be like one brushstroke that really does it for me. Like, there'll be just one that has so much energy, or it's just the right color or the right placement. And it's like, I love this one brushstroke.
Right. I also think, just when I look at Jason's art, like he has a ton of incredible like outdoor pieces from the county, like from all over, that are stunning. But then like he has pieces of downtown that are equally as amazing. Like I can't decide which ones I like more.
Yeah, it's true. Right. Yeah, there's urban and there's rural, and they're both done in such a unique way. Let's see. Stephen just asked, does he have any pieces of the badger? I haven't seen any specifically, although I have seen a number of boats. So, Stephen, maybe you'll just have to stop by and check.
Ooh, I'd like it. Come on over. Stop by, meaning
Yeah.
take a ride over from Fond du Lac.
Yeah, come and visit the coolest coast.
That's good. Maybe Jason can chime in if he's on there or comment later.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be awesome. Well, before we have to go, I just had to share, we were digging around in the archives. I was looking for Halloween photos, and I came across one of my favorite photos. And I feel like this photo just sums up so much, right? I feel like this photo is a good reminder that it's all in your attitude, it's all in your perspective, right? Like, look at the two people in the center. One person is just like, woohoo, this rocks. And the other person is sitting next to her terrified, right? Like, I hate this. This is awful. And so it's two completely different experiences of the same ride.
I feel like you are mentioning that look at these people in the middle. Hopefully you recognize these people in the middle. Would Teak still have that approach to riding roller coasters or
I think
rides?
so. He did tell me that he went on the Zip and Pippin this summer in Bay Beach.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a huge, step forward as far as his experiences. Whether he enjoyed it, I'm not sure.
Okay.
He definitely, I don't think, was the throw your arms up and just love it.
Yeah. I definitely feel, Tina, like this is your approach to your entire life. I think it's so great. I love it.
Thanks. Yeah, I feel like it's a ride, and like you just have to put your arms up and go, right? Just enjoy whatever comes.
That's right.
Where are you on the spectrum? Do you like rides?
I love rides. Love them. So I would definitely be more on the like that is definitely more me.
You know what, Kristin, next year at the county fair, let's definitely go on the freak out together. I missed the chance this year.
So I have done the freak out a couple of years ago. I rode it the first time with one of my girlfriends, and I'm like, dang, this is a good ride. Wait, I'm thinking of it. I'm thinking about Remix. Have you been on that one?
Oh, what's the remix?
Freak out is the one that like swings and spins. That is relaxing to me. I actually think it's great. The remix is the one that like the center spins, the arms spin, and then the cars spin.
Oh.
It's like this. And that one I went on the first time, and I'm like, that was really fun. And then I went in a second time, and I'm like, what if this car falls off the end of this thing and the children see me fly to my death on this punch steel grate on the bottom? So it was a little intense. So freak out, yes, please. The other one, I have to think about it a little bit.
Here's what Mary says. She said, I'm weird with rides, but I jumped out of a plane. Some of those rides scare me, so that's weird that I jumped out of a plane. Yeah, Mary, isn't it interesting what we can do if we put our minds to it? But yet
Yes.
it doesn't like just, it's not a blanket, okay, I did this, so now I can do it all.
Right. Right. I definitely like have that tiered system. Like, well, I survived that and that was fine. So I think I can do this. Or do you know what I mean? I feel like I convince myself of those things that it will be fine.
Nice. All right, freak out summer 2022 at the county fair. I am there. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for making this an awesome start to a Tuesday, the first Tuesday in November. Go out and make it great. It looks like a beautiful day. Hopefully, it's
Mhm.
beautiful all the way out to Fond du Lac, Stephen. We will look forward to seeing you next time on Coffee with Kristin and Tina.
Happy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.